So good evening, good morning, good afternoon. This is our once a month meeting where it's called Jumpstart, and we talk about the successes from the previous month and hopefully give us encouragement to jumpstart the month with actions and exciting things and opportunities to grow and build something personally and professionally. My name is Craig Blanchette, and I'll be taking us through a few slides today with my co-host, Dawn Carpenter. Good evening, Dawn Carpenter. Are you there? Let me unmute you. There, I did it, I think. There we go.
Good evening, Craig.
Good evening, yes. And so I've got a few slides here. And we're going to get to quite a bit, but you want to stay on to the end. We've got some announcements that we want to make at the end as well. And so I'm going to start up my slideshow here, and then we will get rolling, as they say. Let's see here. Did that work? New share, desktop 2. I think that worked. Can you see Jumpstart October 2018? We can. Perfect. All right. So Dawn is going to be sharing with us. So the first slide here, go ahead. You're on, Dawn. Actually,
Right.
Before we go to that, if any of you are coming back or guests today, welcome to our call. This is our once a month meeting where we celebrate, but we also meet as a smaller group so that, normally we meet with Terry Miller, which is in a bigger group, and this is our once a month where we get together and it's just our team. So it's a little more intimate, a little more small. And so Dawn and Kelly Carpenter from Spokane are going to go through a couple of the setups for our meeting. So go for it, Dawn.
Okay, awesome. Well, as we look at ranks and rank advancements and celebrate people, it's just nice to kind of review what each of those means. As we're all kind of entering this meeting at different places. Some of us have been around for a while. Some of you are more brand new. And so when you begin and you first purchase your coach's kit, you are an Optavia coach, but you're not really a coach until you're actually coaching somebody, right? And so once you have 5 new clients and their combined orders are 1,200 or more, you're considered a senior coach. So that's pretty exciting. That means that you are actually helping 5 people. And oftentimes those first 5 people are people who are near and dear to your heart. They're your friends, they're your family. So FLV stands for Frontline Volume. So the combined total of what your clients are ordering in dollars. So each point can either be accumulated by $1,200 in Frontline Volume or having a senior coach that you are mentoring. So as you look at manager, to be a manager, you need 2 points. So you can have 2 points by having $2,400 in Frontline Volume, or by having $2,400 in Frontline Volume and another coach that you have sponsored that is also helping 5 people. So it's kind of cool how we can multiply ourselves and just reach out and help more people. So associate director, it's 3 points. So that could be either a combination of supporting coaches and clients, or it could be $3,600 in just supporting your clients. So director, 4 points, and then executive director is 5 points. So the cool thing that I think about all of this when I'm thinking about ranks is how, each of our ranks just means that many more people are getting healthy, and that many more people are having a chance to have hope and to get their lives back. I know that for me, that's been a huge piece. Mm-hmm. So anything you want to add to that slide, Craig?
I'm curious because you could go executive director just by supporting clients, and which would be so 1,200 times 5 is 6,000. Okay. And so there's also something called blended ED. And so what if you, executive director, you make, when you're certified, you make 31% commissions. And so how could I get to executive director with a blended path? What would be some ideas as far as that goes?
Okay, well, you could get to, as Craig said, an executive director by having $6,000 in frontline volume. And so that's supporting roughly about 20 clients. But as a blended path, you could have 4,800 in frontline volume and have one senior coach. So one partner that you are helping to mentor and support who has 5 clients of their own. You could go by having 2 coaches and 3,600 in frontline volume. You could make up those 5 points by having 4 coaches and only, let's see, I'm losing track of my points here, Craig, 1,200 in frontline volume. So really can be, any combination of that as long as it equals 5 points total.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly it. And so does anybody want to stop just for a second here? And do you guys have any questions, sort of how because this is how your ranks go, but if ranks don't mean a lot to you, this is how you help people in groups in people's lives, like, for example, Casina or someone named Pam. One day, those 2 ladies weren't part of Optavia, and their life was a certain way. And now they're part of Optavia because they knew somebody who inspired somebody. And now both of their lives look very different. It's better now on this side of Optavia, right? And just think of it. Everybody here once wasn't here. And somebody was thinking about you, and you saw something, you saw them or a post or said something, or you went to a family reunion, something happened, and you were like, wow, you look great. What did you do? And then they started talking to you, and somehow eventually you got here. And so imagine, let's just take a minute, go back to pre-Optavia and think about your life. Before you knew about this, before you knew about this community, when you were doing the best you could, and it just wasn't very good. Pam, why don't you come off of mute and talk about your pre-Optavia world just for a second?
Well, for those of you that don't know, I'm in a wheelchair, and I struggled. I was struggling just making transfers. I had a lot of edema in my feet and in my legs. My everyday life was a struggle. And I'm an athlete, and so that requires a lot of traveling, and that became a problem too, because getting in and off of airplanes and transferring in beds in hotels, I didn't feel like I was independent, that I'd have the confidence to do that on my own. And so, that lack of independence, or that fear that independence was going away, was very, very scary. And lo and behold, I luckily found Optavia, and my life has changed tremendously. I'm doing crazy things now. I'm trying to back myself. I'm like, I'm going to get hurt if I'm trying this transfer. I better not do this, because I have so much confidence, and, and the edema in my feet went away, and my legs. And so I can wear shoes now. Any shoes I want, girl shoes. Before I had to wear men's shoes because the swelling was so bad. So for me, the transformation has been absolutely huge. And then, just the weight loss, I'm not afraid to transfer, and I'm not afraid to do the things that I wanted, that I've missed.
Yeah. So perfect example. And now, so what was involved in Pam getting here? I'll tell you. There's a lady named Jennifer Johnson who's also in a wheelchair. And I talked to her 2 years ago about the program, and she said, I'm not ready yet. And I followed up with her for 1.5 years. 1.5 years. And then at one point, whatever happened, and she was ready. So Pam came on board, and I said, I refer most of my leads to one of the coaches on our team. So Casina was doing amazing. And I said, Casina, I have somebody that I think you're going to be a perfect fit for. So Cassina started working with Jennifer. Jennifer just started coming alive again. And guess who's friends with Jennifer? Pam. And so Jennifer and Pam met. And so now Cassina's like, she's getting into my wheelchair territory. Cassina's not even in a wheelchair. She's working with all these great people in wheelchairs, right? And so basically through me following up and just doing what I do, hoping one day that Jennifer would say yes and she could start seeing some health benefits, she inspired Pam. And now she started having these great results. And she said, I want to help people too. I want some. And so now Pam's working with people. And all of that happened not by accident. I wasn't following up by accident with Jennifer. I actually was quite intentional about that. And so you can see how your efforts here when you build this business, it's because you're helping people, right? So you can help people when your business builds, or you can build your business and you'll help people. However you want to think about it. What Terry Miller taught me one time is sometimes people think about success with names attached, and some people's minds are focused on, there are more numbers attached to it. And it's just a different way of looking at business development. And so they're the same thing, whether it's someone's name or it's a new rank. They're all equated to the same things. So my point in saying all that is that as you're moving through and starting to help more and more people, it won't happen by accident. It will happen on purpose. And what we find is 1 in 5 people are already coaches. They just haven't been asked or shown that they could. So you have every 5 clients, 1 of those people would coach if they knew they could. You just haven't told them about it, and you haven't asked them, right? Dan Valentine said recently he had an organization of about 40 clients and 0 coaches. And one day he realized that he had 10 coaches just waiting to be asked. And so he asked all 50 people, and 10 of them said, absolutely, I'd love to do that. And in 2 days, he had 10 coaches on his team. But they were already there. They just hadn't been asked yet. And so it's not something we're trying to convince people of. People want to help other people. Trust me, it happens all the time. And we help people. Pam's story was a perfect example. So as we move through the ranks, think about it. Usually you get to senior coach, and then you build a blended ED, which means maybe 10 clients and 1 coach or 2 coaches, and you work your way up to a blended executive. And then you continue to help people, and you move it up to 6,000 in Frontline Volume, and then you keep building senior coaches. Anyway, so that's just a little bit kind of a big picture. If you can become a senior coach, and then you can teach someone to do what you did. You have the skills. Now you just got to transfer them. And if you can help people be senior coaches, then you can be executive director. And actually, if you can become an executive director, then you can teach somebody else how to do that. And if you can build 10 executive directors, you're a presidential director, right? I don't know if you guys realize this, but you're 10 people away from a life you could only, to this point, dream about. Integrated presidential, they make $80,000 per month on average. And that is not an exception. This happens regularly. And so maybe $80,000 is interesting, but let's talk about 250 lives being changed because of you. So you want to talk people or you want to talk numbers? It's all the same. So think about that. You're 10 people away from a life that people only dream of. And in the process of building that life, you're going to set a lot of people free. Probably a lot of yourself as well. So I get super excited about what we're doing here because we really are making a big difference in the world. So we're going to go through and celebrate a little bit more here. And then I got a couple announcements that I want to go through with you. And then we'll finish up. So that's defining ranks. We this month the $8,000 club. So this means 8,000 in frontline volume. So this person clearly would be an executive director, because an executive director is. Are you guys seeing my screen by chance? Is that working right?
Mhm.
Yep. Come off mute and say yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So frontline volume, 8,000. This person's probably working with 25 to 30 clients. Okay. And so, well, congratulations, Sharon and Hal Green. Way to go. And then we have the 10,000K club. And this person's probably working with somewhere in 40 to 50 roughly clients, and that would be Dawn and Kelly Carpenter. And for the Carpenters, that's a new frontline volume record. That's the most people they've helped in a month at this point in their whole career. And so actually I have a couple questions for you guys. What's your secret?
What's our secret? I think just being consistent, continuing to reach out, don't give up on people, keep following up.
So what's it look like to be consistent? I mean, because I hear that word a lot. What's that actually mean? What does it mean to show up and be consistent?
Well, I think for us, that means every day we're doing something to touch our business. Every day, Kelly's really faithful with getting his 3 posts out there. Every day I'm working really hard to give exceptional client support and to reach out to people that are, just on my heart, on my mind, and following up with those people after we have those conversations. So it's kind of become part of our day. There are some days that I dedicate more to coaching, and carving out some time for fun on other days. But every day we're doing something that touches our business.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, Kelly, you've made a big change in the last week, and something has lit a fire under you as far as your posting goes. Can you tell us a little bit about that transformation?
Yeah. Well, we got amazing people like Carrie Armstrong and Diane and, all of you, everybody else, and you, Craig, all your support. My love ever since I was a little boy, and my father's love growing up in Spirit Lake, was automobiles. And I love cars, classic cars and all types of cars. And so I just kind of, if you notice some of my posts lately, I've been posting cars, from classic muscle cars to different types of cars. And that's something that's really interests me ever since as a little toddler.
Yep.
Playing with magic cars.
Yeah. So Kelly and I started talking about, besides healthy things, what interests you? What kind of people do you have a connection with? And I said, well, how about you go post something that you love? He's like, well, I love cars. I was like, okay. Well then, so now Kelly is building interest in people that like cars. And that's one of his, like, you have the three posts that are health related, and then you have your bonus posts that get people talking and build community. And so Kelly has been lighting it up. Like I'm watching his posts now. I mean, and they've been really good. So that's another thing.
Yeah, I had somebody mention yesterday, they said, hey, I really like that, 70 Chevelle you posted the other day or whatever.
Yep.
Gotten some good conversations started. And I think the other thing that Kelly's done that has been relatively new is that when he does share like a before and after or a saying or something like that, he really adds a personal touch to it and really puts something in there that helps people, maybe get to know him a little bit more, hear a little of his heart and how that post connects to us or to him personally. So I think that's really been an awesome change that's happened as well.
And I've seen it. It's been a 180 degrees like turnaround, and you're really doing a great job. And Kelly and I have been working on these different things for a little while. We have a weekly coaches session. We're trying to figure out how to build the skills that he needs to be a health coach. And it's a very unique toolbox. But the toolbox transfers to other areas of life really well, because we learn how to be great relational people. We learn how to make good conversations. You know how that's a skill, and there's a lot of people that are horrible at it, right? So we're all getting better. So thank you guys for your example. Congratulations on a record of helping more people than you ever have to this point. I'm sure glad you guys retired, because there was a lot of people that are thankful that you started doing this full time, because they're now getting healthy because of it. So way to go, guys. All right, so we got a couple more announcements here I want to go through with you. So the sponsoring boot camp. So there's a boot camp that happens. We do these with our coaches training. Monday nights is coach development, personal skills development. Wednesdays is what we call client support. Well, we're all clients. So that's personal habits of health, growing in our own personal health journey. So that's Wednesday nights. Well, then occasionally, not every Saturday, but there'll be little seasons where we do a blitz or a boot camp or some type of a training on a Saturday. And usually those are called boot camps. So we have a sponsoring boot camp. This is how to find people that want to coach but have never been asked, right? What do those people look like? How do we find people to partner with and have a ball working together like I do with all of you? I have a ball working with you guys. I'm so glad you came, right? And so this is the sponsoring boot camp. There's 2 more left. We did the first one already, and there's 2 more left. And it's Saturdays at 7 a.m. Pacific. That would be 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 Eastern. And the Zoom ID is that 915 number. You might want to jot that down and put it in your calendar for the next 2 Saturdays. All right. And many of you have attended that and are working with. That's Dan Valentine and Doug Wood. And I've quoted Doug Wood like 5 or 6 times just this week based upon what I learned last week. So some great information there. The next thing we find is that your business grows when you grow, right? And so if your business is stuck, it's because you're stuck. You basically have grown your business up to your capacity, and you've got to develop better people skills, better personal skills, better self-management skills, different ways of thinking. And when you grow your capacity, you'll have more capacity to help more people. So if you're stuck, if your business is stuck, it's because you're stuck. And so we decided to do a book club, and we're reading the book called The Speed of Trust. Now, we started it before the boot camp started, and so we got bumped. So we bumped it an hour earlier, and I understand that 6 a.m. might be tough. But just imagine, think about your own personal development, and what it's going to take. Feel a little bit of weight of just showing up and doing something for you. Become better. And if you join us in this book club, you will become better. So what we do each week is we read a chapter, 1 or 2 chapters. You go through and you highlight things that stick out to you. And then you go read your highlights and you pick your top 2 highlights. And then we get together and we just share our highlights and we talk about why. And we all get to learn from each other's experience and what they're getting out of the book. And so if you got 10 people on there, essentially you're reading the book 10 times. So I don't know about you, but that seems like a huge return on my investment. So that is, we're going to go Saturdays at 6 a.m. for the next 2 Saturdays. And then when the boot camp ends, we're going to bump it back to 7. So we'll give you more information. And that Zoom ID is my Zoom ID, the one that you're all in right now. Okay. And lastly, actually I got 2 more announcements. We've got a map workshop. Doug Wood just talked about your map, and there was another lady, I didn't get her name, but she talked about how your map is a gauge for how to work your month. It provides you with some structure, because coaching can be pretty loosey-goosey. You know, you don't have a boss looking over your shoulder. And if you don't work, your business won't work. And so having a map gives you some things to focus your energy on and a direction to go. MAP stands for monthly action plan. Does anybody know where my little map graphic takes you to? Anybody want to guess?
Disneyland.
Nailed it. Exactly. I'm always using stories about going to Disneyland. So I'm just going to go from my house to Disneyland. It's 14 hours and 51 minutes, just so you know. Anyway, it's exactly it. And so we're going to do one of those right as we finish up here, which is kind of going to be in 5 minutes. We're going to do a map workshop. Well, if this doesn't work for you because you got kids you got to put together, or you got to get dinner, whatever, you can come back at 8:30 Pacific, and Dawn's going to take another group through at 8:30. And we will actually, this is not a how to do it. There'll be some of that, but it's a let's do it, right? So you're going to have your map out, and you're going to actually fill it out right here live. And by the end of today, your map will be completed. Now, this is if you're a senior coach rank or above. But if you want to attend the training and learn what a map is, even if you're not senior coach yet, you can come and you can learn, because this will be a tool that you'll be able to utilize in your future. Anyway, so that's going to happen today. And the last one is Jackie, as a hobby, makes T-shirts. She's one of the crafty people of the world. And so she actually does silk screening and does T-shirts. And so she developed this shirt called Coach Life is the Best Life, #Health and Hope, right? And so there is a link on the OHC, that stands for Optimal Health Coach. That's our coach's page. And you can click on that. And if you want it shipped to you, you pick your size, you pick your color, and then you $20 will get you a one of our coaches' T-shirts that she created. But we need you to place your order by the 6th. So I think that's 5 days from today. And so we want to get a big batch of them in, and so she can be effective at doing that. Thank you so much, Jackie, for doing that for our team, and so we can have a fun little shirt to wear at like convention and different types of things when we go there. So any questions about the MAP training, the book club? It's The Speed of Trust, by the way. So that's the Speed of Trust book, so you can order that. And then one last thing before we finish up, we had somebody that hit a new rank, and I wanted to save the best for the last. And so Dawn, actually this is going to be a Dawn interviewing a Dawn, actually. So the Dawns are on. Go for it, Dawn Carpenter.
Awesome. Well, can you unmute Dawn Weber since she's driving? Awesome. Well, I'm super excited to announce that Dawn Weber hit manager this month. So that means that more people are getting healthy. And it happened in kind of an unusual way. The month was getting closer to the end, and we talked about just reaching out and offering hope to some people. And Dawn got right after it. And so, Dawn, you want to share what happened?
One of my clients, Mary, co-workers, actually her boss and 2 daughters, they're all adults, saw what was happening for Mary, that Mary was losing weight, and they wanted to try to get healthy. And so this mom and 2 daughters called me on Friday and said, sign us up. And I said, well, I really should do a health assessment first. And so they let me do a help assessments on them, each individually, and they're excited to sign up. And those 3 orders knocked my volume up enough to make me manager. And it was very exciting. I was really surprised.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's awesome.
Way to go.
Absolutely.
That's all that consistency and all the skills that you had developed up to that point. You had branded yourself as somebody that helps other people, right? So you're getting a reputation, Dawn. Just telling you, it's a healthy reputation, right? And I love it. When you interview somebody and they get excited about it, and then 2 or 3 people in the family are like, "Don't leave me out. I want some." So way to go. So at manager, that means you were, anybody want to, not besides Dawn and if you're an ED or below, does anybody want to take a guess at how much her frontline volume would have been minimum? What do you think? So it's $1,200 to hit the first rank of senior coach. Jackie, you want to take a stab at it?
2,400.
2,400, exactly. So 1,200 times 2, she had to be between 2,400 and 3,600 is going to be the manager world, right? So exactly it. So way to go, Dawn Weber. Congratulations on all the people that you're helping and the difference that you're making in the world. It's funny when we talk about, oh, we're helping 50, 60 people. That's a neat number. But each one of those people is you. And you're more than a number. I am so glad the person that found me because I was a mess. Have you guys ever seen my fat before picture? You guys want to, don't you? Let me just show you. I want you to feast your eyes on this hunk of whatever you might want to call it. There it is. Oh, it's gnarly. Here we go. I'm pulling it up right now. Share screen. Whew. It's almost embarrassing to show it to you guys, but I'll do it anyway. Look at that. That was 175 pounds of awesomeness, right? Yeah, I'm so happy. That was 7.5 years ago. And I got down to 120, 126, and I'm at 130 today, 8 years later. So anyway, some great things that we can do and how this program really does actually change our lives. And so if we get consistent, we start getting disciplined and start following these steps, the 7 days little challenge they just did on the leadership call, I'm thinking to myself, I could do that. I mean, it would take a little bit of time to figure it out, but 7 days of one transformation story a day, that sounds pretty fun. It's fun just finding the one that I want to post, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what if you don't know where to find the transformation stories? Your coach does. Why don't you ask them, right? 7 days of personal health. So talking about your own personal health, one thing a day. That sounds fun. And then what about your transformation story as a coach? Here's how me helping others has changed my life for the better. I don't know, pretty great stuff. So thank you all. Any questions or comments as we're finishing up here? Yeah, by the way, Rafi, have you been on one of our calls before? Is this your first one? It's your first one as a group?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So Rafi's, I think you've heard about him before, but Rafi was the guy in Atlanta that I stopped over at his house. And so he's a coach now, and we're working together, and he's getting geared up to coach. So some of you guys know him, so that's great. And the rest of you, welcome back, and we'll see you next week. We're going to go back to Terry's room as usual. We just start the first Monday of the month. We do our team meeting here. So, so I'm going to end this.